Hey guys, Kaiser here doing another Granblue deck profile. This time it's going to be the full Granblue Legion. So for this deck, I'm going to play 4 of Pinot Noir. Great card early mid-game. His skill is on Legion. You can mill 3 cards, choose 1 card from your drop zone, not just from those 3 cards. And yeah, get a free revive off them basically, which is pretty good. He's also got a secondary effect that I'm not too keen on. When he's attacking, you can sack one of your units and get 5k on your Vanguard, which is okay. It's just okay. Usually there's a 6k booster or slightly higher above the Vanguard, so usually swinging for 26. So you don't usually need to push for 31. 26-31 range usually forces out a null guard or a no guard, so there's not really much need to push for those numbers. However, if you are pushing for pushing for game that turn, then it's not a bad skill to have utility-wise. As well, they have a grade 3. Negrobolt, very popular as of late. I've seen a lot of people play Negrobolt with Kakaitis Reverse. Now, I'd be up for that, however, it really relies on you getting Brutal Shade by turn 3, so you play Kakaitis Reverse early game, then rely on Negrobolt in the late game. This deck does something similar, as Negrobolt is fantastic in the late game. You can fix your fields somewhat, because when Negrobolt attacks, you can't blast 1, sack 1 unit, and revive another one from the drop zone. So that can come up to 4 attacks, it can get you extra draw, it can just generally help you fix your field. And Negrobolt does have that nice little effect where if you've got another unit in the centre column, as him, I believe it's centre column. Yep, if there's another one in your middle column, so booster, whatever, gains 3k, which is fantastic. So Legion on his own, 23. If for whatever reason you're playing Romarios, that's a 31. And yeah, it's generally hitting 29, don't really need to hit much higher than that on a Vanguard. Enough ranting with that, onto grade 2s. 4 Ruin Shade. I think Ruin Shade's a classic Granblue card, and I wouldn't play any less than 4. It's a fantastic card for setup, and the random mill is great now because we've got Legion, so you can fix those drop zones when they're full of crits and heals, which I'm sure many Granblue players have seen many triggers in their drop zone off the random mill. If you can get 2 of these during the early game, the mid game, pretty good. Also reviving them off Negrobolt. Even late game, you don't have to worry too much about milling, so you can just hit for the 11 on its own if you want to. And as well, the skill to give them extra 2k when they're attacking does mean you can fix bad columns. So if you've got a Banshee, if you've got a 5k behind it like a trigger, for whatever reason, you can hit 16 fairly reliably, which is quite nice. Yeah, great card for the deck. And another great card, and a new addition, is Pinot Blanc. And the reason I'm playing 4 of these is because we have 2 Legion bosses, so Legioning is going to be happening quite a lot. These are in the drop zone quite a lot, and if you're intercepting fairly regularly, you can get some really decent pluses off of this, and just get grade 2s back every time you Legion, which is really nice. These are necessary for the deck, because I'm playing Negrobolt of course. These are the Ghoul Dragon. The camera's not picking that up too well, but it feels almost like a tech card, because it's usually just used as the mate and occasionally is revived. And you can get away with 2 of these, thankfully. Because if one goes in your drop zone, one goes in your soul, there's usually at least one hanging around, and if not, you can soul blast it and then just go for your Legion there. So, these aren't unreliable, you can get away with playing 2. Plus obviously, the on-hit retire effect is quite nice when you get it off. So, really applies the pressure. We've got another of the Dragon Corrodes. This time it's Corrupt Dragon. And yeah, that's really not picking up with the glare. Oh well, hopefully it looks better in the edit. Yeah, he's 12k when he's revived, so it works really well with Negrobolt, so he can attack on his own, make decent numbers with other units, I suppose. Anyway, hits 2 stages reliably with a booster, or just on his own, on like a spare column. So, it's a good little tech that works really well with Negrobolt. And another reason not to play draw triggers along with Pinot Blanc would be first the grade 1s. Sea Strolling Banshee. You can still fairly reliably revive these, and you're not relying on a break ride, so it's not nearly as slow. It's good to have 4 because there's a lot of random milling in the deck, and there's no chappy. So decks like that, I would usually recommend playing 4 of these, because great draw power. It's pretty easy to swap them out with Negrobolt and some of the swappers, such as Samurai Spirit and Deadly Nightmare. So yeah, a fantastic card, lots of draw power. Speaking of the swappers, playing 2 Samurai Spirit, it's just Counterblast 1, when it's in the drop zone, swap out a unit, so you usually swap out your Banshees to make better columns. As well, along with this, I'm playing 2 Deadly Nightmare, just because when you rewrite every turn and you're playing Legions, you build up Soul really reliably, so you can get away with playing cards like this. So you're not starved for Soul, thankfully, this time around. There's lots of resources to go around, lots of routes you can take to build fields, so it's fantastic for that. And yeah, I would say, if you're not too sure about the Nightmares, probably try 4 Samurai Spirits, maybe work one of these in, I don't know, somewhere. But yeah, it's quite fun to play those, because as well, with the Nightmare, if you have any Pinot Blancs in your Soul and you want to get pluses off them, you can Soul Blast your Pinot Blancs, swap this out for a Banshee or Trigger, whatever you've got there to make a better column. And yeah, then when you go for your Legion straight afterwards, you can get that extra Pinot Blanc that was just sitting there. And of course, you can use it to get rid of the Ghoul Dragon from your Soul. So lots of utility just off that one card, but I still think the Samurai Spirits are necessary. On to the Perfect Gods. I'm playing 2 of those, getting a text, and I'm playing 2 Reef Banshee. The Quintlet Wall. Not too keen on the Quintlet Wall, but because I'm not keen on using Null Guard's Quintlet Walls early game, where it's quite necessary to set the drop zone using the Banshee. But when you do, it's just a count +1, it's pretty simple cost. Well, it's not really a taxing cost anyway, you won't notice it too much. It pretty much sets up the drop zone as well, and you're pretty much going to stop that attack, guaranteed almost. Late game, maybe not so much, but early game is pretty good for that. And of course you can recycle Quintlet Walls, Null Guards with Legion. Not reliably, but you know, there's still the option to recycle there. A few tech choices. Boatswain Armin. Now this unit is like Corrode Dragon in the sense that when he's revived he gets 3k, and it works much better as a 10k booster than a 12k attacker, because Boatswain Armin works pretty well with either Ruin Shade, the Corrupt Dragon when he's revived, and any grade 3 basically to make a 21k column, whereas Corrupt Dragon requires at least a 9k booster to hit 21. So this one tech card is pretty good if you want to, you know, push, make good columns, create a lot of pressure, and if you can afford to do it, it's fantastic. And then finally, my last tech choice, Dancing Cutlass, because you know you gotta play Cutlass when you can. Because this deck, as I said, isn't as starved of Soul, it's much more viable now to play Cutlass. Whereas before resources were quite tight, such as in the Night Snow builds, and potentially Kakai's Reverse, potentially. But then you could spam Banshees really easily in that as well. But yeah, Cutlass is great in this because as much as you probably don't want to play the grade 3s from your hand, it can make a decent column. Ruin Shade works well in front of it, as does Corrupt Dragon, and it's really not hard to spot Cutlass out. Plus, of course, it's a draw card you can play from your hand, so very good for that too. Speaking of draw cards, first of the critical triggers, Rough Seas Banshee. Wouldn't really recommend using the skill all the time, but it's great to have the utility to use it when you're missing your combo pieces. Also, it's a crit, so it applies pressure, and it has a skill to draw, so it's kind of doing the job of 2 triggers when you think about it. Just fantastic. As well, 4 more crits, and 4 more crits. I really don't see the point in playing draw triggers at all. You've got Banshee, you've got Cutlass, and a draw trigger, on average, from what I've read of various statistics pages, don't quote me on this, on average a draw trigger gets you an extra 5,400 card, just on average. So a draw trigger can get you 10,000 shield, whereas these triggers can get you 10,000 shield and an extra effect. So why not play crits, eh? I like the stands as well, Performing Zombie especially. But in this deck I don't feel like there are a lot of units worthy of restanding. Ruin Shade's not bad. Corrupt Dragon, when you get the revive off, not so bad. But I don't know, early game, if you don't have the perfect field setup, which you will have in the late game, stands aren't great early game. So for me, crits all the way. Plus it ends the game quicker, which is the point of Vanguard, is, you know, to get your opponent to 6 damage. Of course, heals. Play 4 of those, mainly because heals are fantastic. Anyone who's played Vanguard before can tell you that. But of course, in Granblue you've got the option of putting extra pieces in the drop zone, combo pieces, triggers in the drop zone to Legion back. You know, and takes the pressure off yourself, of course, so it makes perfect sense to play heals. Finally, the starter, Pinot Grey. There we are. Sort of. It's not quite glare free, but that's fine. Yeah, I was debating this versus Peter the Ghosty, but then when you think about it logically, Peter the Ghosty is a counterblast for sort of a setup and a break even. Whereas Pinot Gris, you can hold off until your late game legions if need be, once you've got the setup ready. But he goes into Soul, giving you an extra Soul. Granted, Peter does that as well. But this is without a counterblast, and you get to revive a unit. So that revive unit could be a bounce sheet, get you a plus. It could just give you the right sort of tech card that you need at the right time. It has a lot more utility than Peter. Even if you can't use it straight away, if your option's not set up for it, you can still hold on to it, keep it as a 5k booster. Yeah, it's generally a fantastic card. I wouldn't recommend it in decks where you only play one of the two legions, perhaps, because it won't be as reliable. It might just be sitting there as a dead card until you swap it out. So it still has some utility, but in this deck where you're playing both the legions, absolutely fantastic card to have. Anyway, enough of me rambling there. That was the Pinot Noir Negrobolt full Granblue Legion deck. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, of course. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave us a like, because it shows you can support us. Subscribe if you do want to see more content from us, of course. And I'll see you next time.